What gives you success is also the very thing that holds you back in life. Work my way up, all the top hedge funds in the world. I was flying so high in my career. But if only you knew what I'm thinking, how I feel when I go to bed. I have this spiraling thoughts if what I've done is enough. You look at me the next day when I go to work, the mask is on, perfect again. When I was made redundant, I was broken. I thought I was gonna die. I went to see a therapist. I said, yeah, my dad passed when I was 13, but we were so strong, we moved on, everything went super well. And she said, I think we need to unpack the grief. I was like, no, you're crazy. Look at me. I'm so successful in life. Nah, there's nothing wrong with me. Then she's like, why are you sitting here then? The running gave me a lot of success in life, but it wasn't sustainable. I was breaking down, I was burning out. High achieving people go through burnout, addicted to burnout. You actually have emotional fatigue, you have decisions fatigue, you have emotional numbness, but you don't realize. It's only when I did breathwork that I realized what I was running away from. It sounds crazy, but I really did quit my finance job to breathe people and to hypnotize people. The only thing that can actually help you at any point in time is you and your breath. Breathwork is active in the sense of wanting you to actually process what is stored in your body.
How you breathe sort of tells you that you're an overachiever. How does that work?
So what we do is...
I'm Nicole Lee and welcome to You Never Know, where we talk about life, career, finance, and health with visionary people who have taken the unconventional road and embraced the unknowns. If this episode resonates with you, I would love for you to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it today. Are you ready? Let's go. What if one of the most powerful tools you can use to reset, recover, and regulate is something you've always had with you since the time you were born, your breath? Today's guest is a Singaporean woman who has spent almost 2 decades in London, rising up the career ladder at the world's top hedge funds, from Millennium to UBS O'Connor to Balyasny. But after years of surviving and thriving in high-pressure environments, she realized that something had to change. Now she's a licensed transformational breath and rapid transformational therapist and set up her own platform for breathwork and hypnosis called In Me Space, where she's helping more people live better through breathwork and rewiring their subconscious minds. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome Pei Chan to You Never Know. Welcome to the show, Pei.
Thank you, Nicole. Really happy to be here today.
Yeah, I think we have a lot to talk about today, especially since we were both in finance before. So, Pei, you're Singaporean.
I am.
And you spent close to 2 decades in London. And that's something that not many Singaporeans have done. So tell us, what made you leave Singapore for London?
I thought I always wanted to leave because I was adventurous. I wanted to travel. So I decided that London was the option because Singapore is part of the Commonwealth. So as a Singaporean, you could actually get the working holiday visa.
Okay.
So I went to London for a holiday and I went to meet a few headhunters and they said, okay, just quit your job and come. I was 22 at that point. So I came back and I quit my job and I left. The whole idea was actually just to go to London to work for 6 months and travel.
Okay.
But the travel didn't happen. I just continued working and working and working and working.
Okay, so let's talk about that because first of all, you didn't even know where heading to London would lead you to. So you took a risk and you were really young.
I was really young and reckless.
Yeah, but that also sort of led you down a path of some of the top hedge funds in the world as well, right?
Yeah.
So after fund accounting at Bank of New York, then what happened?
I always wanted to do more. So that's always my ethos in life, about wanting to do more. I just kind of started and worked my way up through the years. We can talk about why I always wanted to do more and overachieve as well. And I was very lucky at that point. Then I got headhunted to go to Balyasny at that point to start this function because they didn't have a trading solutions function at that point. So that's how it then went from one hedge fund to the other, and I guess all the top hedge funds in the world. And in 2018, the market spiraled at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Then the whole team got kind of made redundant. I was the interim CEO at that point. Even though I was doing well, it didn't quite make sense to keep me, so I was made redundant as well. So that's when I guess my journey started with healing and also coming back to myself And that was a big shock to my system because I was flying so high in my career. Never thought I was going to fall. And I was very arrogant at a point as well. I thought I'm sorted in life.
Yeah.
And the arrogance in life. And also, at that point, I realized how much I've neglected my friends, my family. If you were with me at dinner, I would always be on my phone constantly. Even if I'm speaking to you, my mind is on my phone or thinking who's replying or who's actually contacting me. Who do I need to reply? What do I need to do next? And I was never there. And a lot of realization came after the redundancy. And so that's the career, I guess, path. And then I went back to finance again. And, we can talk more about that as well.
Yeah, well, so many things to unpack.
I know.
And so many realizations as well, which leads me to my next question, which is, you did mention like you want to overachieve, you want to keep pushing, you want to keep doing more. Where did that come from?
I think being Asian and also growing up in this society, that's part of the equation already. I think that's really imprinted in us. But, obviously it's not for everybody, but I would say most Asians, it's kind of in us already. Yeah. So for me, the overachieving, I think, came from when my dad passed away when I was 13. That was a big shock to the system because, one, when we found out that he was sick, he was really very sick. So then we were told you can't actually tell anyone in school, you can't tell anyone because of the business, everything. So that then led to the first thing about, okay, everything is a secret, you can't tell anyone. So when he died or when he passed away, everything was a shock. Everyone was shocked. Everyone was in shock in school. My friends, they were like, why didn't you tell us? The teachers were like, why didn't you tell us? I was like, I was told not to say anything. So it was just, you just don't know. It just feels a bit helpless because you knew what you needed to do, but yet you didn't know quite how to handle the situation. So I guess the long story short is that I think ever since then, when he passed away, the coping mechanism at that point was to not show any emotion. So I didn't show any emotions. I didn't cry in the funeral, but I was super sad. I was really grieving, but I didn't know how to show it because I didn't cry.
You didn't cry because you were kind of told not to?
I was told not to, I was told not to cry because you shouldn't be weak, you shouldn't show your emotions. But I think, and I don't think it's anybody's fault. Yeah. It's just a way of coping. And I think nobody is right or wrong for saying that. And I went into, that's it. I'm not showing any emotions. I'm not showing any weakness. And I actually grew up being very emotional. I actually had a nickname of being the baby in the family. Right. So because I cry at everything. Right. You step at me, I'll cry. Whatever it is, I'll cry. And then I think ever since I stopped crying, I stopped showing emotions. So my coping mechanism since then was, I'm going to start doing things. I'm going to start doing things so that I can feel the void. Now I can articulate it, but at that point I didn't know, right? I thought, okay, it's a venture. So I started playing sports. I started playing sports competitively. I started training a lot because I just couldn't sit with myself. But now at that point, I didn't know. At that point, you just thought you're a kid. You just want to play sports. You just want to get free sponsorship. You want to get free clothes. But now that I look back, from 13 to 21, 20, I was playing sports. I was training so much. I was just going from training to school, coming home, studying, or rather doing my homework, going to school, sleeping because I was staying up so late at doing my homework. So it was there was a vicious cycle of not actually resting. Then when I finally stopped playing sports when I was 20, 21, because I knew, I was like, okay, my logical brain started coming in and said, what future do you have by playing sports, especially in Singapore, right? And I was playing a Scandinavian sport and it wasn't...
Netball, right?
No, it wasn't. It's a floorball.
Floorball. Okay.
Yeah, so at that point I was thinking I'm going to move to Sweden and my goal was I was going to be a professional floorball player, marry a hot Swedish guy. Yeah. That didn't happen because I thought, okay, I need to stop after the last kind of tournament in Switzerland. Yeah. And I thought, okay, I told everyone I'm going to quit. I can't play anymore. So I just went from one to the other and I just shut everything off. And now that I think back, I'm just thinking, did I actually need to just cut it off so abruptly? But I think it was just my coping mechanism. Right. Again, just to cut it off completely. Then I focused on graduating to make sure that I can get a job in finance. Then my focus was leaving the country. Then one thing led to the other. I went to London, built an amazing career. Yeah. On paper, it looks amazing, right? Until I was 30. And I remember I bought my first flat in London. It was true, obviously a lot of, buying your first property is always hard, especially in London, I think. I got my CFA, which is a finance qualification. I then bought my first Louboutins and I thought, oh my God, I literally in my mind made it in my perception of life, right?
At 30.
At 30. And I just thought, why am I feeling so miserable inside? Why am I upset? I should be so happy, so proud of myself, but yet something was wrong. And then I thought, okay, something is wrong, but I don't know what to do. I didn't know what to do at that point. What is wrong? Nothing is wrong. But yet, then I went back to, I remember I was at my desk, and at that point, the company had this like helpline card that's lying on everybody's desk. It's just a benefit that everyone had.
Yeah.
So I just called the hotline on the card, and I just said, this is what I'm experiencing. I'm just feeling sad. I'm feeling all these emotions, but I don't know what it is. And on the other side of the line, they were just asking kind of the methodical questions, right? Are you thinking about taking your life? How, are you able to sleep? Are you able to eat? At that point, I was like, whoa, why are you asking such like serious questions? And remember at that point, I had never expressed anything. So everything was just crazy to me when they asked questions.
You're overreacting.
Like this. I was like, you're overreacting. I'm not feeling this way at all. Then they asked a series of questions. I said no to a lot of it, but yet I know something. Then they said, okay, why don't we assign you to a therapist so you can actually speak to a psychotherapist? I was like, okay. But the Singaporean in me was thinking, there's nothing wrong with me. And it's such a taboo, right?
Yes.
Now it's okay because everyone is still
a little bit in Singapore.
Yeah, it is. But at that point when I was studying, that was like 12 years ago. Yeah. And I was thinking, oh my God. Yeah. Do I really need to see a therapist? There's a guilt in me and there's a shame in me. But I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it because it's free anyways. It's part of the benefits. So I went to see a therapist and then started conversing, started talking. And then she said, so what happened in your childhood? I said, yeah, my dad passed when I was 13, but we were so strong. We moved on. We just moved on with life. I started playing sports. I came to London. Perfect career. Everything went super well. And she said, I think we need to unpack the grief. I was like, no, you're crazy. Yeah. Look at me. I'm so successful in life. Nah, there's nothing wrong with me. Then she's like, why are you sitting here then? I was like, because they told me to. And at that point, I said to her, you're crazy. I don't need this. I walked out of therapy room. Then after a few months, I came back to her and I'm still actually seeing her.
Why do you go back?
Obviously, she triggered me when she said that, when she said you need to unpack that. So I remember speaking to a few friends and I said, then I just tested I just wanted to test the waters. I remember mentioning to some friends here as well. And you get the difference, right? Like, Singaporeans will be like, oh, why do you need the therapist? Is there something wrong with you? And then I'm like, no, there's nothing wrong. But so I went back to her and I just said, okay, I want to work on this. So I only had 6 assigned sessions because it was free. And after the 6 sessions, she said to me, do you want to continue? And I said, I'm not sure because I don't want to spend money like this. And then that was when I realized about my relationship with money and self-care. I couldn't spend money on myself. And I was like, I can't. Then she said, what do you mean you can't afford it? I said, I can afford it, but I don't want to afford it. She said, why don't I give you a discount? She really wanted me to do it. And I was feeling very ashamed of it because I was thinking I can actually afford it. And then she said, I'll give you a discount. It wasn't a big discount, but I think maybe it's also the Singaporean in me that wanted a deal maybe. And then I said, okay, I'll take the discount. But at that point, it was really hard for me to spend money out of my own pocket to heal myself and to do therapy, which is such a taboo thing.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's very, I think a lot of people can relate to it, including myself.
Right? So I did a lot of many years of therapy, many years. I went from telling myself I don't need it to being very dependent on it. I saw her every week for years. And after one session, I'll be like, okay, when is the next time I can see her? When is the next time I can unpack everything? And when is the next time I can tell her about what happened in the week? Where you watch movies or dramas where they want to call their therapist. I'm that person. Was so reliant on that.
Over dependent.
Yeah, I went from 0 to 100. I didn't call her during the week because I still wanted to have that boundaries. But in my head, I really want, every time when I'm going through something, I'll be like, okay, I want to tell her this next week. I want to tell her that next week. I want to do this next week. So there was an over reliance on her and I was very dependent on her. Then I went to a stage of I really resented her for making me dependent on her. So I then said to her, I don't need this anymore. I don't think I need to do this anymore. And I said, this is not helping me, because I went into a loop. You have done therapy before?
I've done therapy before, but I stopped it on purpose on myself.
Okay.
Because I needed to work on myself and I knew it. Yeah.
Okay. So I didn't. I just said to her, I wanted to stop because I just keep going into a loop. You just keep telling me about awareness. You're aware of this, do something about it. And therapy is all about, and all therapy or all kinds of modalities should always say to you that you find your answers yourself and you resolve it yourself, which is totally true.
Yeah, totally true.
But at that point, I was telling her, you need to tell me what to do now. Like, I've seen you for so many years. I can't just keep going into this loop of, I'm aware of it, but I don't know what to do with it. I'm aware of it, I don't know what to do with it.
What did you want her to tell you what to do?
I wanted her to tell me that I'm going to be okay, one. I wanted her to give me some solutions, but she didn't give me any solutions. I don't mean like she didn't give me any solutions.
Yeah.
Of course, she reflected back and we unpacked it. I wanted solutions because I was very logical. I was using my head more than my heart.
I get it.
Right? So that's when I then started doing other modalities, breathwork, hypnosis, sound, light grid, everything, Reiki, everything.
Okay, take a pause.
Yeah.
I think more people need to hear that. You said that you've realized that you were using more of your head versus your heart. Why? I say why because I say that a lot, on my show, in my posts about connecting back to your heart, because that's where you know that you don't have to overthink, overanalyze things, and that you trust yourself and your intuition.
Yeah.
What made you realize that?
What made me realize that is because I was always trying to find a solution rather than trusting myself. I was putting her on a pedestal. I was putting all the different healers or different things that I was doing on a pedestal. I never trusted myself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I packed my schedule with different therapies and stuff. I was addicted to all these things.
Right.
I was over reliant on them, and I just didn't know how to come home to myself.
Yeah.
So I knew it. It's just one thing about awareness is sometimes it's really annoying because you know it, but yet you don't know what to do with it. I think there is always a phase where you go through, I guess, this healing phase or this self-awareness, self-development phase, that there's always this gap where you're aware, you know that you need to do something, but you just don't quite know how to do it, even though the solution is there, someone would tell you, but you just don't know how to.
Right.
It takes a long time to really trust yourself again, because a lot of times we grow up and people telling us what to do, education, parents, friends, whether it's our, in terms of our
bosses,
our corporate career, the environment that tells us, okay, this is situation, you do this, that situation, you do that, and we just forget how to trust ourselves again, 100%. How to go back to your heart, how to go back to your intuition again.
Correct.
So it took me a long time.
And
to
I think
there.
It's even harder when you're conventionally, materially successful.
And it's just this spiraling thoughts. Nobody knows what happened when you go to bed, right?
Yes.
When you look at me, I remember everyone will be like, you look so successful, you never look stressed, you always look perfect. I'm like, and every time when someone says that to me, something in me would die. Though yes, I liked obviously the compliment, but something in me always like, oh my God, if only you knew what I'm thinking, how I feel when I go to bed. I have this spiraling like thoughts of, like that handicap me thinking, oh, I'm gonna lose my job. This is not gonna, like all these thoughts about things that are gonna fail or I'm gonna fail, I'm not good enough, would just repeat and just like go into a spiral of what I've done, what I haven't done, what I've done is enough. Oh my God, perfect again.
Yeah.
But this loop just keeps happening.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's your internal world didn't match with your outer
No, it didn't.
world. And actually,
Not at all.
We will soon realize that the inner world shapes your outer world.
Yes, correct. I realized that I was running away, kind of coming back to your question about overachieving. I realized that I was overachieving to fill a void. But the void, I didn't know what it was, right? So I didn't want to feel the feelings when my dad passed away. But at that point, I was 13. Because when you're 13, when you're a young kid or when you are younger, you just have this learned helplessness. You want to make everything right, but you don't know how to.
Yeah.
And then you just cope with whatever that you have in life, right? So for me, by coping means overachieving.
Yeah.
I was always wanting to prove something, proving that I'm okay. Because I achieved so much, I'm actually okay.
Yeah.
I don't actually need to unpack any of the emotions or any of the feelings.
Yeah. And I mean, so many things to talk about, right? Because I think so many people need to hear this, especially successful people. Overachieving, high performing has served them very well, right? In their career, probably earn a lot of money, but something inside is not right.
Correct.
Like, why am I not happy? Why do I go home and feel like I want to leave the home again? Why do I keep going for holidays and feel like I don't want to come back, and when I come back, I want to leave again?
And I think like holidays are always an escape, even though, obviously we look forward to it. But now that I've left my job now, but I just realized that I don't actually feel like I need to escape anymore. It's the same for you, right?
I just felt like I needed to be still in one place to heal and to like just be okay with being appreciative of where you're at in this moment. You know what I mean? So I completely agree. Like, I think people don't realize what holidays are really an escape. And yes, it's one way to discover the world, but you don't realize it at that time.
No, you don't. You just thought, especially with high achieving people, and also in, I don't just mean in Asia or whether it's in the Western world. We just keep having this thing about, I work hard, I deserve this, I deserve to buy this, I deserve to go on this holiday.
Yes.
So there's always this like cycle of like chasing.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think, going back to what you asked me earlier about, or rather what you mentioned about high achieving people, the type A's, right? Why are we doing that? And I always say that to a lot of my clients and also other interviews as well. What gives you success is also the very thing that holds you back in life.
100%.
Yeah.
It holds you back from becoming and being the person you actually originally were.
Yes.
Right? Because all of this wanting to prove yourself, get more money, buy a house, go for holidays is actually that mask you were wearing. And that was, for various reasons, is what you put on to escape from something.
Yes.
And I think your journey, it happened in your way, right? But you almost needed that. I have a house, I'm earning so much money, I'm 30, why the heck am I so unhappy? And we can talk about the redundancy as well. There are a lot of these wake-up calls that happen to many people, but you may not have realized that it's needed for you to come back to yourself.
Yes. And the universe always shows you ways to stop you, whether it's a redundancy, whether it's
illness,
whether it's an illness, or whether like little things, whether it's a cold, whether it's you spraining your ankle or little things. It's really the universe asking you to stop to actually realize what's going on in your life.
So how did breathwork come in?
So breathwork, I actually went to a workshop and I just thought it was meditation, just learning how to breathe, meditation, easy. So that was my first breathwork session and it was the most cathartic session. I cried and I really went to a hysterical cry. I went back to my dad's funeral. Don't even know how, why. There was no intention on unpacking anything. Remember, I was just going to a workshop, going for dinner afterwards. There was nothing. So that was my first experience. And I remember getting out of it thinking, everyone is in this room is freaking crazy or is crazy.
Why?
Because I was one of them, but I was thinking, why is everyone, not everyone, I would say 80% of the room
crying,
went into a cathartic cry or then started sharing about their vulnerability. And I was thinking, oh my God, that's crazy.
Okay, and then?
Then I went to my dinner with my eyes super swollen. My friend was asking me what happened. I just went to this meditation. I just didn't understand what happened. So I went back again after 3 months. And again after 3 months. Again after 3 months. I would always go to a workshop setting. I knew I needed to cry because remember I told you I've never really expressed myself, right? So that was my expression and that was my way of expressing and crying. And with no agenda, and not having to cry because I watched a movie and I made myself cry that way. But it was just a free, shutting off my logical mind and letting my subconscious mind take me there. But at that point, I didn't really understand. I was still very logical at that point. I just started breathwork, did it every 3 months. And when I was made redundant, I was broken. I thought I was going to die. And I know this sounds very dramatic, but I didn't eat or sleep for 7 days. I just was in my mind thinking, what happened? How did I not see this coming? Because I was flying so high in my career. I was thinking, how did this happen? This cannot happen to me. It's not possible. My ego was bruised. Identity crisis because I'm thinking, what do I do now? I have no skills apart from finance, but I know everyone would say that you still have an amazing experience and everything, but at that point, I just thought my life was over. My life was over, and then I started thinking about, can I pay my phone and mortgage? All these spiraling thoughts, and I thought I lost myself again. I was so disappointed with myself. And you don't recognize yourself. I didn't recognize myself. I was really, really, really disappointed. And I went back to breathwork again. And again, I went into a big cathartic cry. I thought, okay, do I start looking for a job now? Or do I travel? So I actually went straight into helping a friend's business. I said to myself, you don't deserve to travel because you have been made redundant. You shouldn't spend money. So I helped him with his business for a month. Then I went back to breathwork again, and I just thought there was a calling in me that you need to do this. Don't ask me why.
I get it.
It sounds very woo-woo,
No, it's true.
Yeah. And you know the irony is, I actually thought about this morning before coming to this podcast. I actually got a book on breathwork from one of the founders in the hedge fund that I was made redundant from. We were partying in Hong Kong at 5 a.m. Maybe it was 3 a.m. in Hong Kong, drunk. And we were talking about how we actually help ourselves when we were stressed and having anxiety. And he said to me, you have to read this book called The Presence Process, and there's breathwork in it and stuff. And at that point, I was thinking, he's never going to send me that book. He's not going to remember. 2 months later, the book actually showed up in the office. And then when I was made redundant, I took the book out. And I was at my breathwork training at this point, and I opened the book. To start reading it, and it's the same modality that I was training. How crazy is
so synchronistic?
Yes, it's crazy. And I just thought it was always in my path already.
It's always in your path. I love it because sometimes when you're going through a very difficult time and you hit rock bottom, like your redundancy and everything, and the world is crashing, it was meant for you to strip off everything that you knew before.
Yeah. I was very humbled.
I get it, that this is what you needed to go through, and then your new path opens. And I think not many people realize that all those things need to happen for you. Second of all, not many people know what breathwork is.
Yes.
Right? Because I thought it was like meditation too.
Yeah.
Is breathwork meditation or is something different? What is it?
So breathwork and meditation is completely different, or are completely different. So meditation is a little bit more passive. It's all about awareness and also stillness in a way.
Yes.
Right? And breathwork is more active. So I would say, what is breathwork? Breathwork is conscious breathwork. So it means that you are more conscious of your breath patterns.
Okay.
Because everyone has a unique breath pattern. We can unpick it. My breath pattern actually says that I'm overachiever. So many other things as well. And breathwork is active in the sense of wanting you to actually process what is stored in your body. What is the trauma or unprocessed tension that has been stored in your body? Meditation is, again, more of a passive awareness.
Yes.
And involves you sitting down and also observing your breath or something, that's happening.
Yes.
And I like breathwork because I only started meditation last year. And I'll tell you why. And people who are very active and have an active mind, very logical, meditation would help as well.
Yeah.
If you're lucky and meditation actually resonates with you in the beginning, good for you. I didn't. I couldn't. Breathwork did, because it gave me something to anchor on. Even though meditation is also anchoring on your breath, but it's also... So breathwork, for me, again, maybe it's the doing bit or the overachieving bit that really helped me. It's an active it's an active activity to really change the rhythm of your breathing and also to unpick the patterns that you have.
Love that.
Yeah, so once you unpick the patterns, you unpick anything or everything that is stored in your body that's running your life as well, right? So it's understanding that.
Almost see it as like a middle ground between your active mind and meditation, which is, some people find the bridge very, very big.
Correct.
To walk, right? Yes. From being so active to meditation.
Correct.
Okay.
And it can be also relaxing as well, right? So it depends on how you use breathwork. So for me, I started my meditation journey only last year because I knew that I wanted something to with the stillness as well. So now I actually combine meditation and breathwork. Breathwork is really quite amazing because, again, like you said, in the beginning of your podcast, it's really just underneath our nose.
Yes.
It's free.
Yes.
And we don't actually use it properly. We don't use it enough.
Correct.
And what we actually use our breath is actually more... I wouldn't say harmful. Harmful is probably the wrong word to use, but it actually holds us back in life more than it actually propels us forward.
Our breath?
Yeah. So a lot of times, because how we breathe is how we live our life. If you breathe shallowly, if you don't use your breath to its full capacity,
Yes.
you're not living your life to your full capacity.
Yeah, I've realized that now myself as well.
And
You
you
breathe
see
more deeply and consciously.
exactly.
And therefore you're actually able to manage your stress and your anxieties much better.
And if you think about it, the only thing that can actually help you at any point in time is you and your breath.
Yes.
You can call a helpline, you can call your partner, you can call someone, you can call your therapist.
Yeah.
But that's going to take at least 1 minute if you're lucky if they pick up, right?
Correct.
Then you are still reliant on someone to actually unpack it for you or process it with you. But if you come back to your breath and you actually trust yourself again about we talked about this, about coming back to yourself again
Yes.
and knowing that you have this resilience within yourself or this power within yourself
Yes.
to change the state, right? And I think a lot of us have forgotten this power that we have.
Okay.
And you delegate it to something else or someone.
I want to unpack that a bit because earlier you said that you can even tell how someone is like or what they went through just by how their breathing patterns.
Yes.
So you were saying that for you, how you breathe sort of tells you that you're an overachiever.
Yeah, okay.
How does that work?
So basically, what we do is something called, or what I do is something called the breath analysis to see how someone breathes, right? So I'll tell you my breath pattern, so it's okay. So we want to use.
You can tell me mine later.
Yeah, I can tell you yours later. So obviously, it's my only psychic ability, by the way.
We're all psychic,
Yeah, I know.
It's just that we haven't activated it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So obviously we want to use our entire respiratory system, but we don't. At best, I think a lot of us only use a third of it. So when I first started breathwork, I was only breathing in this area.
Below
Just below the diaphragm and above the belly button.
Okay.
So I was very strong here. So
Okay.
this is the doing breath, the overachieving, the perfectionist, like very strong diaphragmatic breath, which is great.
Right.
Because you want to use your diaphragm to breathe. But I was overdoing it. I was doing my breath rather than a breath helping me to breathe.
How do you do your breath?
You control your breath. You force your breath.
Oh, you force it.
Yes. So this is the overachiever breath. And I didn't actually have any breath in my chest. I didn't have any breath in my lower belly. And what happens with me is I actually shut off my heart because I didn't want to feel.
Yeah.
I told you before, I didn't want to express.
Yes.
I didn't want to feel.
Yes.
If anything makes me emotional, I would just avoid it.
Right.
Right? But
Yes.
that was remember I told you when I was growing up, that was my default of feeling emotional, feeling. I love feeling, But I shut it off completely because at some point in my life, it wasn't safe to feel anymore.
I get it.
Again, sounds crazy to say this, or it sounds woo to say that whenever I do that, but it's really true.
It's really true, yeah.
I know that because that's for a fact that I actually don't want to open my heart, or at that point I didn't want to open my heart.
Yes.
And now I'm very conscious of it, and it can also be a physical thing, right?
Yes.
So I told you, when you're overdoing your breath, your diaphragm is very tight. So if we
Yes.
talk about the physical side, your diaphragm is too tight, we need to release the tension. You need to use your diaphragm better. So if you talk about the physical, it's that. But if you talk about emotional, why are you overdoing your breath?
Yes.
Because you want to control it. And people who are very much wanting to be in control are normally the overachievers.
Yes. Okay.
Right? And some overachievers actually have open heart as well. I'm not saying that if you're an overachiever, you don't actually have an open heart. It's just that this is my analysis of myself. My breath wasn't going low enough. So I wasn't grounded. I was always on the go. On the go, and my breath was very shallow. See, that's what I meant, right? If your breath is shallow and is everything, it probably doesn't give you success, but it doesn't mean that. What I said before is that the things that give you success are also the very thing that gives you, holds you back in life. So the overachieving, the shallow breathing, the running gave me a lot of success in life, but it wasn't sustainable. I was breaking down, I was burning out, but I wasn't aware of it.
Yes.
I was just thinking I'm a superwoman. I could fly back from Singapore to London and work at 7 a.m. the next morning.
Yeah.
I was
And you're proud of it.
I was proud of it. I was unbreakable.
Yeah, I get it.
And I always felt so proud when I could do that. I remember last year this time I was still in finance. I remember my colleague was like, "Wow, you really waste no time. You were just in Singapore and now you're working already."
Yeah.
And I just rested on the plane and that's it. I just came back.
And to be honest, in industries like finance, they do applaud people.
Yeah, oh my God, I had the validation, every time when I could do that, they would be like, "Oh my God, this is amazing."
They love people who can jump on the plane and then land and then go for a presentation and pitch, and it's perfect, right?
So going back to that, I wasn't grounded, so I was always very shallow, always achieving. So my breath really made me realize how I was living my life, right? And then you slowly unpick it. So when I first started doing this, I was thinking, okay, if I unpick my breath, does it
Yeah.
mean that I'm not going to achieve in life? No. So I know it sounds, because I think a lot of people will be like, oh, I don't want to lose this.
No.
You will never lose it because that's always your kind of your DNA
Yeah.
or your pattern.
Yes.
So you would actually achieve more in life and more meaningfully
Yeah.
and more conscious as well.
And with less hustle.
Correct.
Yeah.
And overachievers, the biggest thing is actually not trusting yourself.
100%.
I know it sounds crazy, right?
It sounds crazy because like when someone told me that you actually like to please others, I'm like, no way. Like I'm my own person. You know, I
Yes.
have such strong opinions. I know what I'm doing, but actually, subconsciously, you are overachieving by pleasing others excellently.
Yes, and not trusting yourself.
And not trusting
And because
yourself.
you don't trust yourself, you just keep going, keep achieving, and then just proving that little bit in you that, oh, I can do it, I can do it, I can
You
do
know,
it.
when you were going through the breath and where it actually aligns with the chakras, right?
Correct.
Or, like, in
Yeah,
terms of-
I don't really use the chakras,
Okay.
but yes.
Yeah.
So yes, it's all related to chakras. And then, like people who are very stuck in the expression,
Okay.
their throat, there's a lot of it as well.
Wow.
In the breathwork, we also kind of unlock this as well.
Right.
So there's a lot of acupressure that we can do during breathwork to actually unlock the tension that we have. A lot of Asians actually have a lot of stored tension in our jaws.
Okay.
And also in our throat
Why is that so?
because we don't express. We suppress. We swallow our words more than we speak it.
Which is why I'm having the podcast, but I
Yeah.
really feel like more people need to tell their stories, need to speak their truth. We suppress so much.
So much.
Because we were told not to air our dirty,
Dirty
laundry,
laundry,
in
yes.
public. Don't tell people about what's happening at home,
Yes,
right?
yes.
But actually, without telling people, then how do you really live your life?
Yeah.
And speak your truth? Because if you don't live in alignment with your truth, then you can't really live. Right? Okay, so you did this whole course and you got licensed.
I got licensed. I didn't want to do it. I just thought I was going to do it for friends and family. I never had the intention
To do it full time.
to do it full time. Never.
I get it.
Never.
Okay, so what made you then just leave the finance industry?
It wasn't a switch or it wasn't an aha moment.
Yeah.
It was, so I left when I was 41. When I was 40 to 41, I would say that was, I don't know, you're not 40 yet, right?
Not yet.
Not yet. So I think when you go through that phase and you think, what is there in life,
Yeah.
I was, and I'm actually at that point, I would say I'm actually was really very, very, very happy with where I was in my career because
Yeah.
I had my breathwork, I had my joy hustle. I was so conscious with my career and I really enjoyed it because I had this tool, right?
Yeah.
Or I have this tool. And I was really flying high in my career again, but in a different way. I don't mean it in the
Yeah.
previous life where I was flying high and with arrogance. I was flying high, but I was very conscious of how I led my team, how I managed my work, how I did a lot of the big projects that I was doing. I was really happy. So I thought to myself, I don't think I need to. Then I remember watching a video from Tony Robbins and he said, if not now, when? Then that just it's just at the back of my mind. I just thought, do I do it when I turn 45?
Yes.
Do I do it
Or
when I
now.
turn 50?
Yeah.
Do I do it when I turn 60?
I get it.
Just earn a lot of money now, save a lot of money. Then maybe I can do it at my
Yeah,
retirement.
that's what most people will say. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really wanted to. Trust me, I really wanted to. I just thought, such a shame because I'm at the top of my career and even going to go even higher. Why do I want to leave it now?
Yeah.
But I don't know, this nagging feeling that I want to do more with this. And I think the satisfaction when I got from seeing clients outweighed the satisfaction I got when I launched the fund, which is like like hundreds of millions and
Yeah.
everything. And I thought, wow, this is
Big
this.
realization.
Yeah. It sounds crazy, but I really did quit my finance job to breathe people and to hypnotize people.
No, that's awesome. I think that's
Yeah.
great. That's a bigger purpose than anything you would have ever done. And Tony Robbins was meant to show up on your social media
Yeah,
feed,
exactly.
No, because everything that comes into your life, whether it's through Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn or whatever, or people you meet,
Yes.
you were meant to have met them and seen them, and the messages come through in different ways.
So yeah, so there was, I guess there was a aha moment in a way, but yet not. It was a gradual process. And I just thought, so I did it because I started training in 2019. So it's kind of 6 years, right? So I did, and then I finished my training in 2020. Then I did my IME Space Joy Hustle. And 1 year, you just keep pushing it out. And I just thought, it's never ending.
Yeah.
The bonus is going to keep coming,
Yes.
right? And money is going to keep coming. And there's never, it's never enough. Trust me, I went through a big, I would say a depression because I really thought you are crazy for doing this. And I thought I would have a lot of joy doing it, quitting and going and doing this, but actually gave me a lot of anxiety. I was thinking, why?
Why do you do? Why
did I do it?
Yeah.
Why do you have to choose the difficult path?
I think it's very real.
Yeah.
It's very real because it doesn't mean like people think you just leave your career.
Yeah.
So you can just do whatever you want, but actually it's very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's not that, it's really not easy. And I thought, okay, actually I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah,
I don't want to breathe people anymore. I want to go back to finance.
Because it seems easier almost.
Yeah, it seems at that point it was like I really went through 3 months of really low, and I actually didn't go out of my house for a few weeks thinking, then I remember my friends were like, I think you're going through a depression. I was like, no. I'm not going through a depression because I was like, I have breathwork and everything. I'm not, but obviously I was going through my process of grieving over the identity loss again.
You're dying many times.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
To actually get to the person, you might keep dying some more.
Yeah, exactly. I still say that I think I did the right thing.
Yeah, I get it. It's a journey, it's a process.
Yeah.
So I just want to touch a bit about high performing professionals and ambitious professionals that cannot sit still, right? They cannot sit still. And they think, breath work and meditation is just like something that people who have a lot of time do. But what have you found seeing clients and for yourself as well? How has it helped them to actually become more productive or to manage their stress better?
So a lot of high achieving people, I think, go through burnout and is thriving with burnout. Right? And I say that burnout because people think that burnout means that you are not actually functioning, but actually a lot of people are addicted to burnout and they can actually function very, very well with burnout.
Get it.
And whenever you are in a burnout, you actually have emotional fatigue, you have decisions fatigue, you have emotional numbness as well.
Yeah.
Right? But you don't realize that.
Emotional numbness.
You don't realize that. You really don't realize that until you stop. But you don't stop because you don't want to stop. You don't want to feel.
Yes.
Right? I say that from my own experience because I was burning out completely all the time, but I was still loving the high from it. And I'm not saying that I couldn't function. I functioned really well, but it's only when I did breathwork that I realized what I was running away from. What is the underlying resentment, exhaustion, grief, sadness, or things that you haven't unpacked that you want to avoid.
Yeah.
And some people would say, hey, I'm functioning well, so why do I need to unpack it?
Yes.
But remember when you're going through burnout, it means that something is happening with you.
Yeah.
Right? Or something is happening to you. So
for you, when you experienced burnout, what did it mean for you?
When I realized what was the grief and also a lot of things that happened in childhood and why I did that. And why I was, what you are doing in your career also is a reflection of what happens in your childhood and how you actually cope with a lot of the things as well. So that's what I unpacked.
Yes.
And I think it's really amazing that I realized why, one, I'm an overachiever, and also the roles that I've decided to pick. Always people pleasing, always in the middle, always being very vigilant of what's happening, because I witnessed a lot of domestic violence when I was younger.
Yeah.
But that actually didn't come up until very recently, I would say in the last 4 or 5 years. And then you realize why you're in roles like this. And it's really amazing.
Yes.
I think for high achievers to actually understand why you're doing certain roles and certain things in your life.
Yes.
Then that really gives you your superpower actually gave you the success that you have, and actually understanding why the superpower actually also is holding you back, right?
Yes.
And then why do you not need to people please anymore, like you said earlier?
Agree. So it's not saying that you have to leave your job, for example.
No, of course not.
Of course, if you want to leave,
I'm just the
fine.
extreme case, right?
No, but it's also understanding that if you continue staying in these roles and in your job, how you can be a better human.
Correct.
And person and boss and partner and all the sort of things. How you can have better relationships with your team and your at home and at work, right?
And I would say everything starts from yourself and home. Right?
100%, yeah.
So when you start unpacking all these emotions and stuff, then you start being more compassionate towards yourself.
Yes.
And again, this is not a cliche or anything.
Nope,
really. Once you start being more compassionate towards yourself, then you are more compassionate towards others.
100%.
And I shared earlier that I didn't show any emotion, didn't understand why people show emotions either. So when I went to work, I was ruthless. That's why I guess I had my success as well. Yeah. I don't mean ruthless as in I didn't want people. I just didn't understand why people would bring emotions to work.
I get it.
For me, you leave it at home because I left it at home. You don't show it at work.
I get it.
So when I started doing breathwork and all these things, then I realized that I didn't allow myself to feel. So that's why I didn't allow my team or my my colleagues to feel.
I completely resonate with whatever you have said, but don't you find that at some point when you start to heal and come back to yourself and realize you don't have to prove, that sometimes then the industry or the company or the job you're in may no longer align with who you are internally?
Yes, it does. I guess it depends, right? So I think for me, it's a very different path because I actually decided to do it as a living. So, but I think a lot of my clients who are using this and still in high achieving careers, they are actually a better employee or a better employer now because of what they have realized about themselves, the self-awareness and the compassion, and also actually once you actually understand what holds you back, drives you, you then can start actually relating to other people too.
100%. It makes you a better founder, employee, boss, etc.
Exactly. And then you're able to regulate your own emotions as well. I'm sure you have worked with like crazy bosses, right? We have all done that. But then you start thinking, actually they are also going through something.
I know.
Right?
I get it. Yeah.
But it doesn't give them the license to
I agree. But I just know that where they're coming from and that they hadn't yet processed what they went through. We're going to end with some like rapid fire questions, okay? So if there was one breathwork practice that anyone can do starting today, what would that be?
The simplest one is actually to just bring your breath down to your lower belly, which means that you're actually activating or using your diaphragm muscle. Just bring it down to your belly and slow your breath down. And that's the easiest and simplest way to do it. Take a few deep breaths, go down to your belly, and that's it.
And breathe through your nose.
Breathe through your nose.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the easiest. You know, of course, we can go to the box breathing and the 4-7-8, but the easiest thing that you can remember is to really
slow it down.
Slow it down to your belly, trigger your parasympathetic system.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, cool. Next is, if there was one thing you wish more people would know about for breathwork, what would that be?
Breath is your superpower.
Okay, very clear. Third is, what would the Pei at Millennium say about you right now?
You're crazy for quitting your job to breathe people, but I'm so proud of you.
Are you happier now?
I am much happier now.
Okay.
I would say I'm more fulfilled now.
I get it.
Yes.
Yeah, fully get it. Sometimes happier may not be the only thing, but there's also other stuff as well. It was very insightful.
Thank you so much for having me, and I really resonate with the podcast, You Never Know. And I think, after this podcast, now that I'm thinking back, really in life, you never know. You never know whether it's in your career, whether it's relationships, whether it's friendships. So always have an open mind and always be, have that leap of faith.
Oh, I fully agree.
So thank you so much for this.
Thank you, Pei.
If you liked this podcast and want to learn more about finance, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it today.